We've all been there. Those conversations that you just keep pushing off, the ones that tie your stomach in knots just thinking about them. A tough talk with your boss, a big fight with your partner, or maybe dealing with a friend who let you down. Well, today we're going to crack open an interrogator's playbook to figure out how to handle the conversations we all dread. And this quote from our expert, Desmond O'Neal, really gets right to the heart of it. He calls them dark conversations. I mean, what a perfect name for them, right? They're the ones that are just so full of emotion and tension that you have no idea where to even begin. But what if there was a way to step out of those shadows and, finally take control of these conversations for good? So to get these answers, we are turning to the man himself, Desmond O'Neal. And listen to this resume. We're talking over 30 years in U.S. law enforcement. He's been a Secret Service agent, a SWAT officer, even trained elite teams from the FBI and the CIA. This guy is a specialist in getting people to open up when the stakes are absolutely through the roof. So his methods aren't just theory. They have been battle-tested in some of the most intense situations you can imagine. All right, so what's the interrogator's big secret? Well, it's not what you think. It's not about manipulation or playing mind games. Nope. It's actually a really clear, simple, and incredibly powerful framework. It's just called P.L.A.N. And this little acronym can take the absolute chaos of a difficult conversation and turn it into a series of totally manageable steps. Okay, so P.L.A.N. This is our roadmap. It's super simple. Purpose, listen, ask, and next steps. That's it, just 4 words, but trust me, when you put them together, they can completely transform even the toughest conversations. So let's break down exactly how it works. So first up, we've got P for purpose. Now, I want you to think of this as your anchor in a huge emotional storm. Before you even open your mouth, you have to know your mission. Ask yourself, why am I really having this conversation? What is the one single thing I absolutely need to achieve? Because let me tell you, when emotions get heated and maybe insults start flying, your purpose is the only thing that's going to keep you from getting totally derailed. And to really see this idea of purpose in action, let's look at one of O'Neal's most intense cases ever. He spent 36 hours, interviewing Philip Garrido. That's the man who kidnapped J.C. Dugard and held her for 18 years. Now, during this interview, Garrido was just aggressive, he was insulting, he was constantly attacking O'Neal's integrity. I mean, most of us would have just lost it, right? But O'Neal didn't, and the reason why is so simple. He was completely anchored to his purpose. See, his mission wasn't to defend his own ego. His mission was to find out if Garrido was involved in another girl's disappearance. That's it. And that right there is the whole point. If you lose your cool, you lose control. By staying locked on his purpose, he stayed in control of the situation. He just took the insults, and in the end, he accomplished his mission. And that is the absolute key takeaway for you and me. It doesn't matter if you're in an interrogation room or just in a tense meeting at work, you've got to know your purpose and refuse to let your emotions pull you off track. Okay, let's move on to the next 2 letters, L and A, which really go hand in hand. Listen and ask. Honestly, these are the tools you're going to use to get past the single biggest obstacle in any conversation. And that's our own assumption that we already know what the other person is thinking and feeling. Spoiler alert, we don't. And look, we are all guilty of this. Most of the time, we're just listening to reply. You know what I mean? You're not really hearing them, you're just waiting for them to take a breath so you can jump in with your brilliant rebuttal. The real goal, is to switch to listening to understand. That means you have to be genuinely curious about what they're saying. Your goal is to learn, not to win the argument. And if you're sitting there thinking, well, I'm pretty good at reading people, this research on something called empathy accuracy is about to be a serious wake-up call. Okay, check this out. Studies show we can correctly guess what a total stranger is thinking only about 20% of the time. For our own romantic partners, it only goes up to 40%. But what happens when things get emotional? That number absolutely plummets to a shocking 15%. 15%. This is exactly why we have to ask questions. We just can't trust our own assumptions. We're terrible at it. All right, finally, we get to N, next steps. This is the crucial part where you turn from just talking about the past to actually building a future. I mean, after you've set your purpose, you've listened, you've asked questions, you can't just leave it there, right? The key is to make this a team effort. You got to ask something like, okay, based on everything we've talked about, what does a good path forward look like to you? See, it's not about forcing your solution on them, it's about building one together.
So, now that we have the plan, let's talk about what we need to stop doing. O'Neill points out 3 super common habits that are just absolute communication killers. I want you to think of these as the self-destruct buttons for any productive conversation.
First up, and this one is a big one, you have got to stop trying to be right. Seriously. The second a conversation turns into a battle to prove your point and win the argument, you've already lost. The goal isn't to be right. The goal is to understand and connect. And I'm telling you, just shifting that one little thing in your mind is a total game changer. Okay, number 2. And this one might feel a little weird at first, but stick with me. Stop saying I understand. I know, it's well-intentioned, but it can actually come across as really dismissive. Think about it. You can understand the words someone is saying, but you can never ever truly understand their unique emotional experience. So when you say I understand, even with the best intentions, you kind of make the conversation about you and your own experiences. So, what do you say instead? Well, instead of claiming to understand, your job is to make the other person feel understood. There's a huge difference. And you do that by just reflecting back what you're hearing. Try phrases like, wow, it sounds like that was incredibly frustrating, or that seems like it must have been a really tough situation. See how that validates their feelings without making it about you? It's proof that you're actually listening.
And number 3, stop giving your opinion when nobody asked for it. Most of the time when someone is telling you about a problem, they are not looking for you to fix it. They're just looking for a sounding board. They just want someone to, sit in the mud with them for a minute. So unless they look you in the eye and say, what do you think I should do? Your absolute best move is just to shut up and listen.
So when you put all this together, the real takeaway is this. Victory isn't about winning the argument. It's not about getting your way. The real power, the real win, is knowing that you can handle yourself with skill and with integrity, no matter how the other person is acting. It's all about being in control of yourself. At the end of the day, this whole framework is about one massive shift, changing your goal from winning to connecting. It's about having a plan, staying anchored to your real purpose, and just remembering that real communication is about understanding, not arguing. So I'm going to leave you with this to think about. What's that one conversation that's been waiting for you? And how are you going to handle it differently now?